Anacharasharakaya Shakshunitam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Swayam Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirveseshya Shunyavadi Paschachate Jatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Mention Marie. Marie will begin our program. She'll lead us in what's called a kirtan. And it's a practice of mantra meditation. And so mantra, like the English word mind, comes from the Sanskrit mana, which is the first syllable of mantra. So mantra is sound vibration, really a sound vibration composed of the names of the divine that frees the mind from agitation and returns us to our original consciousness. And so Marie's going to lead us. She'll sing one time what's called the Maha Mantra. The words are up there. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. She'll sing, and then we'll sing responsively, whoever would like to join. And this chanting of the Maha Mantra, it's described, it's the most recommended process for self-realization in this age.
It is. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama everyone together Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare again Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. Lakshmi Priya is giving out the verse. Hello, Bajranga. Good to see you. Hari Hari Bol. Okay. So, do you know how to? I'm not asking. Do you know how to? Because I don't know how to. Do you know how to stop the recording and then start it again?
I did.
You did that.
I just did it. We're starting again.
Thank you.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Right. So we're starting from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 3, entitled Karma Yoga. We're in text 27. Today's April 24th, 2022. We're here at Prabhupada House in Melrose for the Bhakti Yoga Enlightenment program. All right, so we're studying this text from Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita means song of the Supreme, song of the Divine. And here, there's about 15 of us or so here. Hare Krishna. All right. Prakrite, Priyamanani, Gune, Karmani, Sarvasha, Ahankara, Vimudatma, Karta, Iti, Manyate, Prakrite Kriyamanani, Gune Karmani Sarvasha, Ahankara Vimudatma, Kartaha Miti Manyate, Prakrite Kriyamanani, Gune Karmani Sarvasha, Ahankara Vimudatma, Kartahamiti Manyate, Prakrite Kriyamanani, Gune Karmani Sarvasha, Ahankara Vimudatma, Kartahamiti Manyate.
Prakrite Kriyamanani,
Prakrite Kriyamanani,
Gunekamani Sarvashaha, Ankara Vimudatma, Tahamiti Manyate, Prakriti Kriyamanani, Gunai Karmani Sarvasha,
Ahankara Vimudatma, Kartahamiti Manyate,
Prakrite Kriyamanani,
Prakrite Kriyamanani,
Gunai Karmani Sarvasha,
Ahankara Vimudatma, Kartahamiti Manyate.
Prakrite Kriyamanani,
Prakrite Kriyamanani,
Gune Karmani Sarvasha,
Gune Karmani Sarvasha,
Ahankara Vimudatma,
Ahankara Vimudatma,
Kartahamiti Manyate,
Kartahamiti Manyate.
Prakrite kriyamanani.
Prakrite kriyamanani.
Gune karmani sarvashah.
Gune karmani sarvasha.
Ahankara vidbhutatma.
Ahankara vimudatma.
Vataham ityam amyate.
Vartaham iti manyate. Prakrite, of material nature. Kriyamanani, all being done. Gune, by the modes. Karmani, activities. Sarvasha, all kinds of. Ahankara, vimudha, bewildered by false ego. Atma, the spirit soul. Karta, doer. Aham, I. Iti, thus. Manyate, thinks. Translation. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself to be the doer of activities which are in actuality carried out by nature. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Two persons, one in Krishna consciousness and the other in material consciousness, working on the same level, may appear to be working on the same platform, but there is a wide gulf of difference in their respective positions. The person in material consciousness is convinced by false ego that he is the doer of everything. He does not know that the mechanism of the body is produced by material nature, which works under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. The materialistic person has no knowledge that ultimately he is under the control of Krishna. The person in false ego takes all credit for doing everything independently, and that is the symptom of his nescience. He does not know that this gross and subtle body is the creation of material nature under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as such, his bodily and mental activities should be engaged in the service of Krishna in Krishna consciousness. The ignorant man forgets that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Rishikesh, or the master of the senses of the material body, for due to his long misuse of the senses and sense gratification, he is factually bewildered by the false ego, which makes him forget his eternal relationship with Krishna. Om Mangana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitamyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitamyena Bhutale Svayamupakadamayam Darati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitan Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vancha Kalpata Yubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Bhagavad Gita chapter 3 text 27. Prakrite kriyamanani gune karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself to be the doer of activities which are in actuality carried out by nature. Okay, so this is the philosophy discussion part of our Enlightenment program here at Prabhupada House in Melrose. And so, philosophy, like, not meant to be just some dry abstract alienating endeavor, the fleshly, actually a sincere search for truth, not just cognitively, but realization, experiential realization of truth. And yeah, I like to the extent that we're disconnected from the truth about ourselves and the truth about anything, there's really no chance of happiness, peace, fulfillment, all those experiences we're looking for. So actual philosophy, not philosophy that's meant to alienate the self from the heart and the gut. Actual philosophy is a distinctive human endeavor and very vital. So we have a few principles here, and we can explore and see where we go. There's bewildered spirit soul. So there's the spirit soul. Okay. Under influence of the three modes of material nature. So a few times in the verse, nature. Okay, nature, soul, prakriti. Okay, so nature is just like. Okay, so the whole sort of like material blob, material energy, that's called pradhan, some technical term. And then when it takes forms like these bodies, here's a body, it's called David Wolf. Hey, okay, so here's a body, it's called David Wolf. So then that's prakriti, okay, just like, and then the pradhan is called the Maha Mantra, some technical terms in Sanskrit. Just like, let's say if we've got a big pile of earth, okay, so we have a pile of dirt, so we say, okay, it's called earth, like Maha Mantra. But then if that pile takes forms like, oh, here's a clay pot, and here's the, and again, here's you can make different things out of it. I don't know. So then that's prakriti. Okay, so that's prakriti. All right. So okay. So we got soul, we got nature, and we got doer. All right. So we talk a lot about alternate perspectives. Some of you have recently been in the Softo Foundational Seminar, and some of you have participated in those Foundational Advanced Seminar and other programs years ago. So we talk a lot about that, alternate perspective, seeing outside the box. Okay, so one alternate perspective. So one alternate perspective is that I am not this body. I'm not David Wolf, 61 years old from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So, okay, intellectually, I've been playing around with that perspective for like 40 years now since I started reading Prabhupada's books. More than 40 years, really, going back to about 1980. And but to experientially experience myself as not the body, that would actually be new and different. That would actually be new and different. So, okay, yeah. So, okay, and so the perspective, this a philosophical perspective that I believe is very vital in understanding this verse in a practical way is understanding the principle of things go from subtle to external. Sometimes Bhaktivedanta Swami, like in one talk, he says, so we can think that, well, there was heart failure, and so then there would, because of heart failure, there was death. But no, because death came, and therefore there was heart failure. Let's just be with that. Okay, no, because death came. Okay, therefore there was. Let's just say if it's like someone's in a prison, and these bodies, material bodies, an analogy we can use is it's like a prison. It's like a durga. Srishti stiti pralaya sadhana shaktireka shaiva yasya bhuvanani vibharti durga ichanarupamapi yasya chachista sa govinda mari pusham tamaham bhajami. Actually, all material energy, all the pradhan prakriti, it's kind of controlled by the warden of the prison house is a female demigoddess called Durga. Durga means fortress. So these bodies are like Durga. Okay, I was reading just yesterday in a purport by Bhaktivedanta Swami. He writes in material life, a so-called family is a combination of people living together to complete their terms of imprisonment. I understand that till this point in the class, it can all seem rather discouraging and depressing and rather pessimistic. But stay with me, it gets rosier. We'll see. We'll see where we go. But okay, yeah. So we're looking at different perspectives here. So let's say it's like, yeah, and then Prabhupada goes on, Bhaktivedanta goes on in that purport in terms of imprisonment. So he defines family life. He was, he's not known for the touchy-feely sort of approach. Okay, so then but then okay, so they're just like a term of imprisonment, and then okay, then the criminals, okay, then they go to their next station, and then like that. So we can say, all right, so then there's different administrative processes, forms, for the criminal to get out of that particular cell, that particular straitjacket. Say, oh, well, he got out of the cell because of the administrative processes. Well, no, actually no, because the completion of that particular term of imprisonment came, therefore different administrative processes, took place. Okay, so all right, so we're not meant to be in prison, and that's what we're looking, because like everyone likes freedom, okay, and we're suggesting that because freedom movements, freedom, liberation movement. So everyone wants freedom, and so and that's very natural. And so we will suggest, that almost everything that goes in the name of freedom is dedication to be a complete slave to our mind and senses. Okay, that's what we're looking at here. Okay, that's what we're looking at here. So, because like I said, well, no, I have a lot of freedom. I can choose. Now I got this device. I can choose between 200 different channels. I can choose between. Okay, all right. Can you choose? Can you choose to not watch any of those channels at all for the next 60 days? Oh no, I go crazy. Okay. So yeah, we can choose between bourbon, scotch, beer. So because to the extent that we can't control our senses and mind will drive us to try to control the entire universe. And even if we succeed, we still won't be satisfied, because we're left, because material desire will keep us agitated. So there is what's called spiritual desire. Spirit, in one sense, desire in God consciousness, Krishna consciousness. It's not really a desire, because it's not something that agitates the mind. Okay, it's actually the natural expression of the soul to desire to serve God with love and devotion. It's not really a desire in the material sense. It's the natural expression of the soul. So let's go back to prison. I promise this will get happier, but it's not happening yet. Okay, let's see where we go. All right, so this is the analogy, like the soul entrapped in a material body. It's like in prison. Now I can think that like it's not a trip. I'm free to. So just like I'm free to pick up the watch. I'm free to do what I will. But so it's sort of like, let's say there's the prisoner, and the prisoner could think like, yeah, like because of me, these guards are coming and putting chains on me and handcuffs. I am Ishvaroham Hambogi Siddhoham Balavan Sukhi. Because of me and because I am the center of the universe, and the winds of time are all around me, and because of me, this slop called food is being put on this plate. And in a sense, it's true. Okay, in a sense, it's true, right? Because if it were not for the desire of, if we're not for the consciousness and desire of, certain living entities in the state. This is a metaphor, right? Because we're all in the state of the divine, okay? And so, so it's because of the desire of certain, persons with criminal mentality that there are prisons, and a whole bunch of things go into action. Okay, so what's happening? And the guards and the handcuffs and the slop, and okay, now you have 30 minutes in the exercise yard. So now 30 minutes. Okay, now you need to go back to your cell. I could think, I'm the doer of all this. I'm the doer. I'm the master. Okay, but actually, to take it out of the metaphor, that's the gunas. That's the modes of nature. Now, just look. Okay, I chose to commit some activity that violated the laws and hurt other people. I chose that, and now because I didn't want to be under if we stay with the analogy, I didn't want to be under the civil law. So now, okay, I'm still under the government, under the criminal law. Criminal law, that's called the gunas, that's called the modes of material nature. And so now, so now there's this handcuffs and you have these bars, and my actual free will is very, very limited, is very limited. So, okay, so our nature is to be free. And this whole process of bhakti yoga, this process of Krishna consciousness, it's about shifting from being under, let's call it the criminal system, controlled by the police. Whereas actually, because we talked about Durga, the demigoddess who controls everything, she's actually a nice lady. Okay. She's actually a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She's actually very nice. Okay. When I say nice, I don't mean like kind of like weak, helpless, nice. No, she knows how to assert herself. Okay. She's powerful.
She has Shakti.
She is Shakti. Yeah, she's got Shakti. Yeah, Shakti for sure. Yeah. And she uses her Shakti to serve Purusha. Yeah. So, okay, but she has what could be seen as a somewhat thankless task. She's the warden of the prison house. She's the warden of the prison house. But just like ideally in a state, the warden and the guards, they're not there like to punish the criminals because they're sadistic. Really what they want, ideally, is that all of the inhabitants of the prison will be rehabilitated, and then they're under the civil law, and then they live a free, happy life as contributing members of society. Okay. All right. So, yeah. So we sometimes use analogies, right? In the courses, we'll use analogies like imagine, or a quick thought exercise. Imagine you're looking at a photo of yourself from when you were 5 years old. So when you look at that photo, we say, who is this person? Who is this stranger? No. I say, that's David when I was 5. You say, that's Nick when I was 5. You say, that's Evan when I was 5. Okay. So we want to see how we have imprisoned ourselves. And the good news is we can liberate ourselves to live a life of free, eternal bliss. And there's a process. It's not a cheap thing. All right. Okay. And so there's a process. All right. So now we know from basic chemistry that there's not one cell, not one molecule, not one atom in the body now that was there in the 5-year-old body called David Wolf. Still, there's some constant identity. Right? There's some constant identity that I call David. You call Marie. you call Mariah. So that indicates the physical is completely changed. We can say, well, the body is grown. Not true. Not
Put the
true.
ruler on my, wall where my mother, put the ruler there.
Right.
Little line,
Yeah,
and that grew up.
it looks like it grown. That's the illusion.
Yes.
Precisely. That's the illusion. Are you saying my mom was an illusion?
Exactly.
Okay, we're not getting personal here.
Okay.
We're being philosophical. By the way, all these examples and analogies, including comes from Bhaktivedanta Swami. I stole it all. Okay, so now, and he talks about it. So sometimes folks say we can say the body is grown, but that's not true. Actually, all the parts are changed. All the parts are completely changed. Okay. So this is very, very, very important. So I'm glad we're doing this on a Sunday afternoon. Because again, like if I'm bewildered, if I'm bewildered about my very identity, what's the chance of achieving happiness, peace, vitality, love, if I'm bewildered about my very core identity? Okay, so the body's completely changed. But still there's some constant identity. That indicates the constant identity is something completely non-material, an irreducible quantum of consciousness that this text refers to as the spirit soul. A bewildered spirit soul to the extent that I think I am this body. Very, very important. It is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhayam Dvitiya Vidivesha Tasya, which means the root cause of all anxiety, all fear. We've all been past tense, not anymore. Right? We're all probably even today I've been tormented with anxiety. And if I trace it back, anxiety, stress, fear, insecurity. And if we get to the root of it, it comes from misidentification of the eternal, unstoppable spirit soul with the temporary body. So like just in a very practical way, this is vital philosophy to understand who I am. Okay. And so, okay. So from our consciousness, we get a particular body. It's no accident that I got this particular body. It's no accident that the spirit soul in the cat outside got a particular cat body. We attract a particular type of body. Okay. And then, so we've used the prison analogy. We can use a dream analogy, a dream, or in modern decades, virtual reality, which is becoming more and more of a thing, I hear. Never done it myself, but I know you hook up all your senses to the thing. And then you identify with this character in the game. It's the same, like we identify, oh, I'm the bird, I'm flying in the dream, or I'm a king in a palace, or I'm being chased by a monster. Okay, I dream. So, okay, so again, get that like, so even if it's, so we've had good dreams, we've had bad dreams. Okay, but someone could say like, oh, you're flying, or, oh, you're being chased by a tiger. But like someone with objective vision can see like, there's no monster. There's no king in the palace. You're lying horizontal on a bed. And that's it. I was really happy in the dream. Why did you wake me up? So we can see like someone who really cares about us is kind of like, no, you don't want to spend like 14 hours lying on the bed dreaming, but it was a good dream. Okay, come on, wake up to your real life. Because how much actual joy, happiness, bliss, fulfillment is available in a dream. Okay. I mean, and we sometimes good dreams or bad dreams. So just like in wake, so the analogy is real life, waking life. This is a dream. Actually, one of my favorite poems, and this goes back a long time, 45 years, was by Edgar Allan Poe, called A Dream Within a Dream. I don't know if you had some connection with the Vishnu, the Vishnu tattva there, but it's called A Dream Within a Dream. So yeah, so it's not like it's all not real. No, it's like this body is real. Okay, this body is real, This is real energy. But first of all, it's temporary. And we're eternal, we're that atomic unit of sentience that inhabits the body. And we're only going to be satisfied with happiness that doesn't have a beginning and end, that is not subject to the law of diminishing returns. So first of all, it's temporary. And second of all, that the way I perceive it is elusive. So this is real energy, but to think that this is me, right? To think, oh, this is my car. Actually, this is all the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So how I perceive it is elusive. That's the dream. And to think that I am this body, that's the dream. That's the dream. So, all right. So this thing about the concept of like the doer, okay. What in our Bhagavad Gita course, we're studying the 18th chapter, and there it talks about 5 factors as the cause, 5 factors as the cause of all action. And we are one of those factors, just like the soul, the soul in the prison is one factor for the guards to be putting on the handcuffs. The soul is one factor for the slop to be served like that. But it says, yeah, to Ishvaraham Hamba, we Siddham Balavansuri, but to think that we're the only factor. Hare Krishna. To think that we're the only factor. I said, then this is bewilderment. This is bewilderment. So they're just like, okay, let's say there's like at the carnival, right? At the carnival or something, we have seen these games. We've seen these games like where you have the big mallet and then you bang on a rubber thing, and then the ball, if you bang hard, the ball goes up and it rings the bell. All right. So we're looking at this concept of the doer. It's a little complex. But let's say there's a 4 or 5 year old that goes, oh, dad, I want to play that game. Okay. All right. So dad goes to the carnival, the guy taking the money. Okay. So now the 4-year-old, he can't even lift the big hammer thing. Can't even lift it. So the dad goes, okay, dad stands behind him. Like, guys, okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's lift. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 2. Okay, and bangs, and the ball goes up and rings the bell. Okay, who rung the bell? So we could say the dad's the doer. He rung the bell. Yeah. He rung the bell. At the same time, the dad personally didn't even care about playing the game, but because if it weren't for the 5-year-old's desire, then the dad wouldn't even been lifting the thing. So you could say, well, it's the 5-year-old, because it was his desire that drove everything. So it's our desire that gets us into the prison material life that drives everything. It's true. Like if there was no criminal desire, there'd be no prisons. But there is, so there are prisons. So you could say it was the 5-year-old that rung the bell. But he's not even strong enough to lift the hammer. So okay. So there's so different facets to this doing. And so what I guess the opportunity here is there's actually a get out of jail free card. Get out of jail free, get out of prison free. And that's this process given to us. To transform the quality of our desires, so that we transform from being under criminal law to civil law. to transform the quality of our desire. Let's call it the desire that gets us in the prison of, it says the three modes of material nature. The word here is guna, guna. So guna means rope, guna means string. So whether the bars or this, we can all bound up in string. There are three gunas, three modes of material nature, three ropes. Tamas, or the mode of inertia, heavy. Rajas, the mode of activity, and sattva. And sattva to the mode of enlightenment or goodness. Okay. And so we're especially encouraged, if we want to get out of prison existence, to cultivate the sattva guna, to cultivate sattva guna. How to do that? That's a science. It's described here. Sattva guna, you might say it's an empirical basis for happiness and fulfillment. So back in the 1990s, as part of my doctoral program, we developed what's called the Vedic Personality Inventory. It's a personality assessment tool based on the psychology of Bhagavad Gita, of the three gunas. And our hypothesis was that, following what we get from Bhaktivedanta Swami representing the Vedas, to the extent that we cultivate sattvic worldviews, habits, thought patterns, communication style, sattvic worldviews, sattvic consciousness, sattvic activities, that's going to correlate with happiness, fulfillment, peace, security. And the statistics of the surveys certainly confirmed the Vedic hypothesis. And so how to do it? That's the science. We can cultivate sattva in our eating, in our communication, in our relationship with time, in our relationship with the pre-dawn hours, right? Just like, okay, in our relationship with how we give charity as far as time, like, okay, so, right, like probably everyone here has experienced maybe like in those pre-dawn hours, right? There's like free transcendental nectar in the air. Okay. And I was always a night person. Growing up in my young adulthood. So it was an austerity for me. I'm at the point now, I'm glad to say though, like if I'm not doing spiritual practice, like doing my mantra meditation or reading Bhagavad Gita or in Kirtan in those early morning hours, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7, then I'm really feeling like I missed out. Okay. So, because we know those hours, because they're predominated by the sattva guna, they're especially conducive for spiritual practice. Spiritual practice is transcendental and fully vibrant and 100% effective any time of day, 4 in the afternoon, 1 a.m. But that doesn't mean that my consciousness is as receptive at 4 p.m. or 1 a.m. So like that. And we know, like, okay, then once look at 11 a.m., noon, 2 p.m., that's the time where it's like, it's more difficult to just be peaceful, read a book. That's the time, like, productive. That's the mode of rajas is predominant. The mode of rajas is predominant, right? And then we get to, like, say what's the time of day where we tend to do the stupidest things? I'm not going to ask for personal sharing. No, I'm not going to ask for personal sharing. Oh yeah, let me tell you what happened to me once. No. And we're not going to go there, but just we're getting the philosophical principle. Right? We get into the late night and the early, right? So that's the mode of tamas, the mode of ignorance. So those are really good hours for sleeping. Those are really good hours for sleeping. Keeps us out of trouble, rejuvenates the body, get up at the pre-dawn hours, like that. So this is a science of self-realization. Science, 2 basic pillars of science. 1, consistent hypothesis. That's this philosophy that we're talking here. I know myself for many, many years and decades, and still trying to find flaws in the philosophy, and I've consistently failed. So because I said, this is very satisfying for the intelligence. So you're not just welcome, but you're encouraged. Apply your intelligence, see if it makes sense. See if there's some better philosophical system. And what I found after trying for a few years, and back in 1983, I was backpacking around Europe and I read Gita cover to cover. And I said, well, and I'd been reading some of Prabhupada's books, smaller books before that. I said, well, this makes a whole lot more sense than anything else I've been exposed to. So if I really want to consider myself an honest person, I kind of owe it to myself. I owe it to my sense of integrity and authenticity to give myself to the process that's described here. A process that's described where we get to experience ourselves as not the body, which is good. It's important. Because here's, again, because the body, we can say, well, the body's alive and then it dies. But just like we said, like, it doesn't really grow. It just, all the parts change. Even that, because we're supposed to be at that happy part of the class, but I'll say, actually, we can say, well, the body's alive now, but then it dies. No, actually, the body's dead now. Hey, okay. No, it's actually true.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's what, yeah. You should put that on the announcements. Okay, no, really, just like let's say if we're driving a car, okay, let's say there's an alien from another universe who visits this planet, and we go, oh yes, there's these living entities called Ford and Renault and Mercedes and Volkswagen, and but you know, sometimes there's these other living entity parasites called humans. Really get into, but no, actually, no, the Ford, the Chevrolet, the Dodge, the Volkswagen, the Skoda, like that. It's made, the car is always dead. It's made of rubber, plastic, metal. It's always dead. It appears alive when the driver's inside. It appears alive when, so some of the body's always dead, but it appears alive when the spirit soul's inside. Spirit soul leaves, okay, then, okay, but it's always made of dead elements. So to the extent that we're in any way seeking, hopeful, so this is a part of the class where we pretty much encourage everyone, just give up all hope.
Yeah.
If we're in any way hopeful about any sort of true happiness, not illusory dream happiness, true happiness, true fulfillment, true satisfaction, true inner peace, vitality, inspiration from satisfying the body, we will be bitterly disappointed. Guaranteed, guaranteed, guaranteed. Really, this is a very optimistic philosophy, because the life of the soul awakened to itself is ever increasingly blissful. And to realize who we are as not the body, as eternal spirit, soul, eternally anon, yes, Satchidananda, eternally full of bliss and knowledge. Okay, so this is a process given. It's the best process I know. So whatever process, is it actually working to waken us up, to awaken us to who we are as not the body and as eternal spirit soul? Is it actually working? So it's something I know myself. I've never, since I'm a child till now, I've never been interested in religion. I'm really uninterested in, like, you know, are you a this, are you a that? Are you a Christian, you're a Muslim, you're a Hare Krishna? Like, who cares, you know? Like, I am interested in transformation of heart, transformation of consciousness. So what process are you practicing? What process are you practicing? What are the results? What are the effects? And I'm glad. And what's the, I love philosophy, as you may have noticed. What's the philosophy? What's the understanding? What's the process? What's the experience? And I'm glad to share with you. Here's the process. This is an ancient, really a timeless process.
Or isn't that what religion is? The process?
Thanks for your comment. What's your name, sir?
Blue.
Blue?
Blue.
Blue. Thanks, Blue. Thanks for that. Yeah. Okay. So your comment really helps us to go deeper into the essence. Yeah. So I appreciate your comment, Blue. Yeah. So actually, yeah, like the Srimad Bhagavatam begins Dharma Pujita Kurtvachar Parma Nirmat Saranam Satam Veda Vastram Achavastu Shivda Tapo Triam. So Kortava means cheater. So it says like, yeah, this, this literature kicks out all cheating processes in the name of religion. So actual religion, yes, actual religion is like actual yoga. Actual religion is meant to give us a process where we come alive to ourselves, to support the self, to turn towards itself in self-discovery, and support the self to turn towards God in a spirit of devotion. So religion that actually does that, yeah, then that's exciting. So, okay, so we just use that term, the self turning towards the supreme, the divine, in the attitude of devotion. When we do that and our activities are directed in that way, then we're not in prison anymore. Then we're free from the prison. Then we're free. Then we're free to actually live our inspired, ever increasingly blissful life. As an example, Bhaktivedanta Swami sometimes gives. Like, so let's say, okay, basically in this process, by becoming responsible, we're no longer responsible. I hope that's clear.
Say it again.
Say it again.
Please.
By becoming responsible, we're no longer responsible. As an analogy to help us understand, myself included. So let's just say, there's a soldier, and the soldier is carrying out the orders of the commanding officers, the chain of command. And in doing that, the soldier might kill others. Maybe when he gets home, he gets a medal for that. Okay. So then let's say then the soldier is off duty, or the soldier is no longer in the military. The soldier is off duty. So then the soldier goes home. And let's say off duty in civilian life, the soldier's neighbor looks at him in a funny way. And he's like, or maybe a friend promised to pay him back by the 1st of the month and said, I won't have the money for you till the 10th. So then the civilian now, who was the soldier, he goes, you're not going to mess with me, and he shoots him. Okay. So then the police come, goes to prison, maybe spend many years in prison, maybe the electric chair, like that. So that person can say, this is contradictory. Look, over there, I killed dozens of people and you gave me a medal, and there was a parade for me down the streets of the town. Now I just killed one person, and you're saying I go to prison for 20 years, or I get the electric chair. It's inconsistent. It's like, well, no, it's not inconsistent. It's not consistent. There, you did it, you did, it's the same apparent activity. There you did it under the chain of command. Okay, here you did it whimsically. You did it just for your own, for your own sense gratification. It wasn't for your country. Again, this is an analogy. I'm not saying that the soldiers in war are justified. That's a whole nother discussion. This is an analogy. Okay. So similarly here, just like, okay. Later on in this program, there's going to be something called Prasad. Okay. All right. So Prasad is food. It's not really food. Vegetarian food. That's not even vegetarian food. It's karma-free food. Right. The word here, kriyamanani, guna karmani sarvasha. So, okay, because it's food prepared with love and devotion for Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So by consuming that to nourish the body, we say to nourish the self, but we're not the body. But to nourish our body, even that's not technically true. Like this body, it's really, we're just renting it. We're just renting it for whatever, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years. So this is actually God's body, and we get to use it in God's service. When we use it in God's service, then we're free from the ropes of material nature. We're even free from sattva guna at the same time to develop sattvic activities, qualities, habits. That's the best platform where we're peaceful and clear enough to choose to serve God with loving devotion. That's Shuddha Sattva, that's transcendence. Mam Chiyogya Vicharena, Bhakti Yogena Sevati, Sagunan Savati Vedan, Brahma Bhuyaya, Kalpate. Okay, whereas, let's say, so basic karma, okay, in the field, we talked about time and morning hours. Okay, let's say, so let's say if like, to satisfy some bumps on my tongue, I eat dead animals. Okay. All right. So then, all right. So animals were, died in screaming agony. So it means that, okay, it means that sometime, maybe it'll be later in the life of this body, or maybe in some future life. Yam yam vapisman varam tajat yante klevam tom tom eveti kontia sadatad baba bhavita. Whatever consciousness we develop in this body, that'll be present for us at the time of death, and that'll take us to the next body. So the opportunity is to be so pure in our consciousness that we're not forced to go into prison again. We're so pure in our love for God that we gain, we fully resume our spiritual body. Okay, so then it means that at some point, someone to satisfy their body, they're going to cause pain to this body. Right? If that's what I'm doing for my eating, that's what I'm doing. So karma, so karma is there in eating, it's there in all aspects. And if whatever we're doing, the term Krishna is here. Krishna is a name for God that means the all-attractive Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ete Chamsa Klapumsa, Krishnastu Bhagavan Svayam. Krishna is the source of all the incarnations of God, according to Srimad Bhagavatam. So there's a science here, a science of how to prepare food and eat in service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's a science of how to work. Prabhupada begins his purport. Two persons, one in Krishna consciousness and the other in material consciousness, working on the same level, may appear to be working on the same platform, but there's a wide gulf of difference in their respective positions. Again, let's say someone's building a house and they're hammering in nails or they're sawing wood. Okay, they'll have the house, and then we'll have parties, or we'll just be like intoxicated, and we'll just enjoy our senses, and it'll be all sorts of decadent activities and like, okay. So someone else across the street is also building a house and sawing wood and hammering nails. Same activity, but there's someone else. The consciousness is in this house, we're going to glorify God. In this house, we're going to discuss transcendental philosophy. In this house, yes, we're going to raise our family to have kirtan together, to pray to the pure saints who are followers of God. So it's the same activity, but one activity is liberating the hammerer from the prison house of the three modes of nature, and the other hammering is further implicating, is further entangling. So things go from subtle to what's the consciousness behind the activity? Okay. This whole process of science of bhakti yoga, it's a science of self-realization where we get to free ourselves from the illusion that we're the body, from the illusion that we're the doer. And we started the program with Marie leading us in the singing of this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, it's a recommended cornerstone of the process to awaken to who we really are and to come out of the clutches of prison life and to return to our original blissful consciousness. It's described in the Upanishads. Iti Shadashakam Namam Kalikama Shanashanam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That this particular mantra means transcendental sound vibration that reveals truth and is non-different from the truth it reveals. Every verse here, Prakrite Kriyamanani, Gune Karmani Sarvasha, Hankara Vibhunatma, Kartamiti Manyate. This is a mantra. A true mantra reveals truth and it's non-different from the truth it reveals. That's why whatever we understand or not, the more we chant real mantra, especially the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we experience ourselves transforming from bodily consciousness to awaken to our original consciousness. And this is the special opportunity of the human form of life. Yeah, I'll pause there. I'll read the verse one more time. Prakriti Kriyamanani, Gune Karmani Sarvasha, Ahinkara Vimudatma, Kartamiti Manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself to be the doer of activities which are in actuality carried out by nature. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Thank you for your presence. I welcome, yes.
So in the context of the material body being a prison, what do you think about us being sent to this as like some form of punishment or like karmic punishment for like otherwise we would be more like spirit beings, just be free and do whatever.
Thanks. Would you like to say your name?
Zipporah.
Zipporah? Zipporah.
Zipporah.
Zipporah, okay, yeah. It's a biblical name. Yeah, thanks for that. So my understanding, from Bhagavad Gita, it's not punishment. It's really reciprocation with our desires. It's really reciprocation with our desires. And so that's it. It's reciprocation. So let's say, for example, it's a little simplistic, but to get the idea. Let's say in this life, my focus is just like eating, right? I just I can
relate.
Yeah.
Live to eat instead of eat to live. Yeah.
Yes, right. I just eat anything. Whoa. All right. So now this is simplistic, but it gets the philosophical principle. All right. So in one sense, to just eat anything, the human body is not the best body for that. There's a better body called a pig. Right? A goat, a pig. Okay. So maybe if that's my consciousness, because each species has its special gift, in God's creation. The special opportunity of the human form is to consciously engage in self-realization, like we're doing here on a Sunday afternoon in Melrose. Okay, but so let's say so maybe when the spirit soul leaves the body called David Wolf, and I'm just focused on eat anything, or I just want to eat. So maybe I enter into the womb of a female hog. They got much better bodies for just eating slop, any old slop. They just got much better bodies. So it's not really like a punishment, but it's just like it's a reciprocation with my desires. Just okay. Let's say if what's the term? Okay, let's say if my thing is like getting really buff. Is that the term?
Buff, yes.
Buff. Yeah, Robbie knows. Okay. Okay. I've never been to a gym in my life, but so I'm trying to give an analogy, but okay. Maybe you can, it shows. Yeah, it shows. Okay. So, right. Maybe heard a little pride in my voice when I said I've never been to a gym in my life, but okay. So, so yeah, I want to get enough strength and I can bench press in 400 or whatever. Okay. The whole thing. Okay. The whole thing. All right. So that's my consciousness. Okay. Now, actually, so let's say if you take whatever, the buffest guy or whatever, the
the Olympic world champion in weightlifting or Mr. Universe. Put him in a cage with an adult gorilla who's hungry. No competition. No right. So make me
a vegetarian.
Still, but if he, so maybe not even for food, but he's hungry and he's angry that he's hungry. So just like you're in my space. Okay. So, oh, but I worked out at the gym. Like, come on, gorilla, like doesn't care. Like you're finished. Okay. So this isn't the best body for that. So maybe the next life we get the body of a rhinoceros.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some muscle mass. Okay. They're doing, and they're vegetarian too. We get the body of an elephant, because my goal is big body, strong body, elephant, a hippo. Yeah, thanks for that. Okay, so it's not even like punish, but the idea is like any body, even a nicer human body, a demigod body. Janma Michujaravya, Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam, Mambo Pech Conte, Dukkalayama Shashvatam. All these bodies are all material bodies, the nice ones, the not so nice ones. They're subject to birth, death, old age, disease, and that's unnatural for the soul. So the idea is to like transform the quality of our desire, that we're not desiring anything material. I mean, it could be more, so maybe like what I really want is more respect in society, not so much like money or just being physically attracted. I even respect. Why does he get respect? And right, so maybe in the next birth I'll have an opportunity to have a position in society where I get respect, whatever. So all bodies, birth, death, old age, disease, and this is unnatural for the spirit soul, because the nature of the soul is deathless. So the opportunity is to rejuvenate or to uncover our original spiritual body, which is never forced to take birth in any material body again. That's the opportunity in this bhakti yoga by taking to it. So just like, again, ideally the prison system isn't about punishment, but it is about rehabilitation. Mandy.
I was gonna say, I like the analogy that you're using about the child and the father trying to hit the carnival thing.
Yeah.
Because a parent facilitates the desires of the child and also has boundaries. The child has some free will.
Yeah.
And the parent takes care of the child and tries to keep the child out of danger, but then also allows the child to have experiences maybe that do bring them a little pain and suffering, because they're not they're not following advice. The parent knows, okay, they gotta learn it for themselves. They gotta go through this a little bit. And then also I like that analogy because of that personal assistance that we get from God to achieve something materially, and also that we need that spiritually. It has to be endeavor and mercy. So God is there facilitating all of this for us, and of course wants our relationship, wants a better relationship, but also gives us the freedom to develop that, to have it come from inside. He's not telling us this is the way it is and you have to do that. He's like, I love you and I'd like you to love me back. And there are certain things that you can do within this realm of experimentation.
And see how it goes. See what your experience is. See what your experience is.
So you want to be strong. You want a gorilla body. Okay, that's all right. There you go.
Yeah.
Try that out for a while. But hopefully I'll see you again soon.
Thanks for enriching and embellishing that analogy. Right? Yeah. So it's a parent. A parent's not intrinsically interested in punishing, so you'll suffer. But like, okay. Like, I kind of know this isn't really your best interest. At the same time, you're not going to listen. So you do it, see how it goes. And I'm here. I'm here, always here for you, to be loving. And I'm going to encourage your autonomy. And in exercising your autonomy, you'll gain wisdom. You'll make some mistakes. You'll probably have some painful experiences, and then hopefully you'll turn. And eventually return. Yes, Dad. Let me serve you with love and devotion. Did you get that, Abhi?
Nice try, Dad.
Nice try. Yeah. Okay. But analogously, that's how it works. Thanks for that, man. Bajranga.
So, with that understanding, we came into the human form of life because we wanted spiritual realization.
You're asking
You're
whether
saying that the human form of life is best for spiritual
Yeah.
realization. So we could have gone into any of the species.
Yeah.
So we came into human form of life, the human form, because we wanted some spiritual realization.
Yeah.
According to that.
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah. Right. And then actually thanks for that, Bajranga. Actually, just on the car ride here, Molly and I were speaking and we're saying like, so that's why we came to this human form of life for spiritualization. But most all aspects of human association society kind of distract us from that most sublime goal of the human opportunity. And that's why to cultivate that spark, to fan that spark of why we actually came here, requires quite some deep commitment, because otherwise, as we know, we can go to this screen or that association or this habit over there, and we get diverted from why we actually came here. So it generally requires associating with others who have some dedication or a lot of dedication to reawakening that original want of the human form of life, association with others, and some discipline, and like to achieve something significant in any field requires giving up immediate gratification for longer term fulfillment. We talked about like an Olympic anything, right? Like they need to work so hard. And if you want to be an Olympic anything, or if you want to be a great on a musical instrument, it means like you're not just whimsically partying here and there. You're practicing, you're disciplined. So this self-realization, pure love of God, this is a much greater goal than an Olympic goal. This is a much greater goal. So it makes sense that it requires even greater determination if we really want to progress. Thanks for your sharing, Bajra. Garuda.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
As a musician, I mean, when you talk about chanting, and then we experienced it here, all along in my time in Krishna consciousness, I've always had that alone time singing to Krishna. And could you talk a little bit about what that is, and in reference to which some of this verse sort of points at, that we're trying to change the idea, the concept that I'm in the center, whereas the big paradigm shift is that Krishna's in the center. How does that personal singing or bhajan alone help with that understanding? Because it's been something that's always been a kernel of what's been going on in my life in Krishna consciousness. And I think it's something to look at in regard to this verse.
Thanks very much. I appreciate your question and comment. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak on it. Yeah, so we started the program with that kirtan. Actually, later in the program, we'll experience, in addition to more kirtan, we'll also experience chanting the names of the divine in a form called japa. Okay, yeah, so, all right, so the essential distinction between prison life and life in civil society under civil law rather than criminal law, the essential distinction is in prison life. I want to serve, the word here is ahankara. I'm dedicated to serve my false ego, my false conception of self. Now I'll mention, in some approaches or attempts at spiritual life, the idea is get rid of ego. Just get rid of ego. That's not what we're trying for here. Ego means a sense of who I am. And I am someone. I'm a spirit soul. So this is get rid of a hankering, get rid of false ego, and reawaken our real ego. So false ego is I'm going to serve this conception of who I am as David Wolf. I'm going to serve this body, this mind. I'm going to serve that I get the adoration and distinction that I deserve. Okay. So then real ego is, oh, I'm not this body. I'm not the mind. I'm spirit soul. Right? The body's like the hardware, and then mind and intelligence. These are subtle material elements like the software. I'm not the hardware. I'm not the software. I'm the operator of the computer. So the real ego, Jivaras Hupori Krishnara Nichidas Krishnara Tatasta Shakti Beta Beta Prakash. The real ego is I'm spirit soul. I'm a servant of Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. And so this chanting, we can say, this chanting Hare Krishna, it's a prayer, and it's the answer to the prayer. The prayer is, dear God, please engage me in your service. It's non-sectarian. Please God, whatever our favorite name of God is Jesus, Allah, Buddha, Krishna. Not that we can make up a name, but there are many authentic names of God. Please, Krishna, engage me in your service. So for me, that gets to the core of what I understand you're asking, Guru. That's the trend. Rather than engaging in the service of the false ego that's based on misidentification of the self with the body, I'm praying, please engage me in your service. And it's the answer to the prayer, because a foundational way we can serve is by chanting the names of God. So it's a prayer, and it's the answer to the prayer. So that's like, so that when we're alone, actually I've read like Saint Teresa of Avila, Saint John of the Cross, like the Christian saints, and it's completely bhakti. It's completely bhakti. I mention that because they do a lot of this kind of private prayer, and that's it. You can see like those who are sincere in it. Those who are sincere, it's a deep transformation to just purely wanting to serve God through God's representative, Jesus, in the Christian tradition, to serve God with love and devotion. And then naturally, they transcend the agitating desires based on the modes of nature, the desires based on this gross and subtle body. So that's the transformational drive. That's a transformational element to direct our propensity for service, to love God, to serve God with love. And that's when we're chanting on our own or praying on our own. That's the mood. God, let me serve you, and that might mean that I'm praised, or I'm criticized, or I'm seen as a fool, or people admire me, whatever. Just let me serve you with love and devotion and a pure heart. That's what the chanting's about.
I like it. Transformation or transcend.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Transformation, transcendental, and it's a truly transcognitive process. It's a trans-empirical process, meaning just through our material mind and intellect, we're not going to get that deep bhakti. It's a process coming from the transcendental sphere.
But it affects the intellect and stuff.
Completely. Yeah. That's how we spiritualize the intellect, spiritualize the mind. We engage in this prayerful bhakti in this room, this room, those pillars, this carpet. This is no longer material. This is spiritual wood. This is spiritual because we're using it for spiritual purposes. That's how we spiritualize the world. It's not a sentimental thing. Thank you, Guru. I appreciate very much your comment.
In
continuing on that. So what I find is at work, I'll sing the Maha Mantra, because I feel like that's calming, and it's also spiritualizing the work that I do. Like I feel like, so the money that I earn goes into the mortgage that pays for Prabhupada's house, and so
Yeah.
and it feels like before I used to just kind of do, and I knew nobody was in the hallway or anybody was around, but now I just do it automatically.
Yeah.
And so if I'm filing in the file room, or if I'm, going to a meeting or whatever. So I just feel like people like know now that Anne chants the Maha Mantra wherever she goes. and it's so liberating. And it's also, I feel like people really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like because we have a lot of people in the office like to either sing or whistle. And so I'm like, well, then I'm going to sing.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to sing, I'm going to sing the Maha Mantra. So
you're not hiding anymore.
I'm not hiding anymore. And it feels just so warm. And so it's just any environment I'm in.
Yeah.
And so it feels like if I'm at home, or if I'm here, or if I'm in, it doesn't matter where I'm at. If I'm in the car driving, or if I'm at the grocery store, that's I'm singing that. If that's not allowed, I'm actually visualizing that I'm singing it like in my mind. Like that's what keeps my heart connected to God is. And then if I don't sing, I really see a big difference.
Yeah.
I really
in
see
the consciousness. Yeah.
Yeah, I really see a difference. And and it's just amazing. And that's what started it with Melanie's beautiful singing was the Maha Mantra. But during my first programs, such as this, coming to someone's home and listening to the song of God. So I just wanted to sing alone. It's also like, singing for the benefit of others. It's just whatever sound vibration that you're having with your singing is impacting those around you and any living entity around you. So I felt like sharing.
Thanks for your sharing. I mean, your sharing for me, it really highlights that just like that transformation from karma yoga to bhakti yoga, and just like in all phases. Because like, okay, so you get paid for for the job you do, and you use the money for this to happen, right? We're here because Anasuya is doing that karma yoga, like that, and at the same time, but it's not just that, because your karma yoga is merged into pure bhakti yoga, because that administrative office, that's a spiritual place, because you're singing there and they're hearing. But maybe when you're not looking, they're singing Hare Krishna too.
Possibly.
Like,
they're definitely humming it sometimes.
You're definitely humming it.
Yeah.
Right. And then so you're filling that administrative building with the names of God. So that becomes a spiritual environment. It becomes a transformational environment in the highest sense. So that's Bhakti Yoga, which is the culmination of Karma Yoga. Very, very inspiring. Hare Krishna.
It's so strange coming to Gainesville, Alachua, because everywhere else there's hardly a fraction of any presence of devotees. And you come here and every hippie chants Hare Krishna or know some people that do. Just so the whole place.
You're inspired because you're inspired to be here. Yeah, and like in this county, like if you go to the post office, take car tolls. If you go to the supermarket, Haribo. The sincere souls who are dedicated to bhakti have created transformation in this county, going back about 50 years, more than 50 years. It's special, and it's a special environment.
Srila Prabhupada personally came here.
Person came here. Precisely, yeah. Someone quoted the remote corner of the world. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, Prabhupada spoke on the Plaza of the Americas, and he called this place this remote corner of the world. Can you imagine calling the home of the Gators? Didn't he realize it's actually the center of the universe? So, right. He referred to this remote corner of the world. Yeah, he was here, very inspired. And there's Prabhupada House in Melrose, Florida. Hare Krishna. So, okay, in the next part of our program, for those who'd like to participate, we're gonna again have an experience in chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This Maha Mantra. I just on the way here, I heard a lecture from Bhaktivedanta Swami, and he was speaking, and Prabhupada would often say this. So sometimes he would speak like Iran. He speaks to Christian priests and goes like, chant the names of God.